Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tome of Silver, the show where I randomly select a game from my collection, review it, and add it to an ever-growing ranking list. 2024 is coming to an end, my friends, and I hope this year has been kind to you all. We've had a big one here on the Tome of Silver. In 2024, I reviewed 19 games over the course of 12 videos, bringing our ranking list up to a whopping 55 games. We've reviewed enough games to make a top 50 list now.
Nice!
To everyone who has tuned in, subscribed, or left a comment on any of my videos, thank you all so much for making this such a fun year. The conversations I've had with you all regarding the various games we've covered was such a treat. Getting to hear everyone's opinions on a game, regardless if they agreed with me or not, was insightful, and it's what makes this channel so worthwhile to me. In the last year in review, we went over the current standing of the ranking list, so new viewers knew where we stood by the beginning of next year. That's still the plan. But we have one other matter to deal with first. See, in the past few months, I've added 3 new games to my collection belonging to series we've already reviewed here on the channel. These particular games, I feel, don't have enough substance for their own dedicated videos, whether that's because they are just lacking anything worth talking about, or mechanically are so similar to entries we've already discussed that we'd be retreading the same ground for most of the video. They also can't seamlessly be included in a video of another entry in the same series, leaving them in a bit of a review limbo. So I've decided that when this is the case, I will give these games their own mini-reviews in the year-end reviews. Obviously, the number of mini-reviews in each year-end video will fluctuate depending on what games I buy, with the chance of there not needing to be any at all, but this year we have 3 mini-reviews. These 3 include the Game Boy Advance version of Bionicle The Game, Soul Edge, the first entry in the Soul series, and finally, Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the PS1. Would you believe I managed to find a copy of Trilogy 1 month after finishing my classic Mortal Kombat review? Figures, right? Once I've reviewed these 3, I'll add them to the ranking list and our list for 2024 will be complete. So let's not waste any time. Sit back, relax, and let's turn the page to our first mini review with Bionicle The Game for the GBA. I'm going to cut straight past the suspense and build up and say that Bionicle The Game for the GBA is one of the worst video games I've ever played. It's an action-adventure game that allows you to play as all 6 of the main Toa in their own dedicated level. Rather than being a stage you necessarily progress through to reach a goal, Bionicle places you in an open zone. Your objective is to explore the area and solve puzzles to find 8 Matoran hidden in various places. Only by finding the Matoran and collecting all the light stones scattered across each stage will you be able to open the door that leads to the boss and beat the level. What makes Bionicle so atrocious is its horrendous camera angle. It provides a terrible perspective of the stage, making the distance of platforms and enemies deceptively unclear. Even the most basic of platforming becomes leaps of faith, with failure commonly resulting in instant death in bottomless pits or long falls to the ground which results in heavy fall damage. Yes, this game has fall damage, because that's what we needed in a platformer. Add the awful and clunky controls shifting me in directions I didn't want to move makes for some of the most frustratingly unresponsive gameplay I have ever experienced. To make matters worse, you only have 5 lives in each level. In a game where I'm constantly fighting the controls with every step I take, and each jump is a coin toss leading to my death, a limited number of lives is the last thing I want to see. Upon receiving a game over, all Matorans and Lightstones obtained are reset back to 0, so you have to find everything all over again. This makes Bionicle very difficult. Hell, it was a miracle if I could get a hold of 2 Matoran on each attempt. I cannot fathom how players would have the patience to complete a single level, having to build the tolerance of memorizing where all the Matoran are, and then just hoping that everything goes your way during that one playthrough to get everything on a single run. The one thing the GBA version has going for it is that you can play as all Toa in their base Mata forms. Once you complete a stage and get that Toa symbol, you'll be able to play as the entire team in their Nuva forms as well. Both forms for each character was something that even the console version couldn't pull off. Here's where the monkey paw curls. To reach the final boss, you have to complete each stage with both the Toa's Mata and Nuva forms. As far as I could tell, the Toa and Nuva have no discernible differences from their Mata forms outside of their appearance, and the amount of Matoran you need to collect fucking doubles? Are you kidding me? What? Listen, it was a bummer only getting to play as Tahu in both forms in the console version. But in the case of the GBA version, more content is a curse, not a blessing. I would rather have nothing than need to play a single minute more of this piece of cane raw guano. I can say with the utmost confidence that this is the worst Bionicle video game ever created, hands down. Don't waste your time or your money, even if you can find this game for just a handful of dollars. There is nothing of value to be found here. Thankfully, things can only go up for our next review as we turn our attention to Soul Blade for the PlayStation. Soul Blade, or as it's known in Japan, Soul Edge, is the first entry into Namco Bandai's Soul series, of which we've already looked at Soul Calibur 2 here on the channel. I'm looking at the PlayStation 1 version for this review. Going back to the first title in a longer running series, I tempered my expectations and reminded myself that I had played later games that have had time to iron out the issues of its predecessors. As such, it's unreasonable to hold this game to the same standards. So imagine my surprise when Soul Blade damn near reached those lofty expectations anyways. Soul Edge looks fantastic for the time. Each of the character models has such detail and animate beautifully. I was shocked to see that the wind physics on clothes and hair that I gave so much praise in SC2 were present even here. The only real blight on the presentation are the many graphical bugs that cause the models to clip and flicker. Still, they're not all that noticeable in the heat of the fight, only being apparent during win animations and arcade endings. I've only recently begun to dip my toe in the original PlayStation library, so I'm still becoming familiar with what's considered common or expected from a game's presentation of that era. But from what I understand, these graphical oddities were the norm of games at the time. Please correct me if I'm mistaken. Regardless, if that's the price of looking this impressive, that's a small price to pay. Going back and seeing the roster, I admit that I didn't love any of the characters' designs, though that could be because I'm used to the later appearances on hardware that allowed for more intricate elements. It was weird seeing a time when Nightmare didn't exist yet. You know, Nightmare, the guy who literally became the logo for the Soul Calibur developers. Also, who the heck is Lei Long? Maxi from Soul Calibur onward uses the same nunchuck moveset, and to my knowledge, this is the only game in the series Lei Long is playable. It's just so bizarre for a series that almost never leaves a character off the roster for more than 2 games in a row, to have never brought this guy back. Poor man must not have been very popular, though it was interesting to see a character I've never heard of that's exclusive to this game. The gameplay remains similar to later entries. It does feel a bit stiffer, but that's to be expected, and even at its most rigid, Soul Blade controls great and feels wonderful to play. The only major mechanical difference between this and later games that I noticed was the weapon break mechanic. After blocking too many attacks, a fighter will lose the weapon, massively reducing their damage, range, and otherwise just effectiveness for the remainder of the round. Neat idea, but I'm glad they decided not to continue this going forward. Momentarily stunning your opponent after breaking the block is punishment enough. Essentially crippling a character feels like overkill. Soul Blade has a healthy amount of single-player content. It has arcade, versus, team battle, time attack, survival, plenty of modes to keep players occupied. The most notable of these modes is Edgemaster mode. Edgemaster acts as a story mode of sorts. Each character has their own quest with a handful of missions, providing the player with a glimpse into their backstories and reasons for wishing to obtain the legendary Soul Edge. In its time, you would be lucky for most fighting games to include character backgrounds in the game's instruction manual. Having a full mode where players get to learn more about the fighters is fantastic. Furthermore, completing fights in Edgemaster unlocks additional weapons for the fighters, each having unique properties, adding further incentive to play through the mode with the entire roster. Soul Blade is an amazing fighter, even for the first entry in the series. In a time where most fighters only had an arcade mode and versus, the number of modes and offering of single-player content made it surpass most of its competition. The only knock against it is it's just not a title I'll go back to all that often. Not because it's bad, god no, but because every sequel just kept building on Soul Edge's foundation to improve it, giving little reason to go back to it outside of nostalgia or curiosity. It remains the only way to get your fix of Lei Long though. Stay strong, Lei Long Legion. Your boy may have a second chance yet. Our last participant in the lightning round is Mortal Kombat Trilogy. As the name suggests, MK Trilogy pulls characters and stages from all three Mortal Kombat arcade games into one definitive package, using the gameplay from 3 Ultimate as its base. There are some new moves added to some characters, but otherwise you'll know exactly what to expect if coming off of Ultimate 3 to this. Trilogy also adds a new aggressor mechanic, which causes a meter to fill at the bottom of the screen over the course of the fight. Once the meter is full, the character temporarily gains a boost to their speed and attack. Aggressor is a pretty unremarkable addition. It feels tacked on, like Midway felt like they needed to introduce something new to the combat to further justify the new game. It's not bad, nor do I find it ruins the combat at all. It just seems rather superfluous in the grand scheme of things, and leaves no lasting impression. Trilogy boasts a gargantuan roster. It features every previous playable character, with some having multiple variations like Kano, allows you to play as the boss characters. It introduces a new fighter in the form of Chameleon, who is selectable after entering a code. Chameleon rotates between all 7 of the male ninja characters. It's a cool idea for a fighter, even if it is just a blatant reuse of assets, as the player will need to have an understanding of multiple fighters to make effective use of him, while the opponent will be kept on their toes as they deal with a rotation of abilities. Stages include every stage from 2 and 3, with a handful returning from MK Original as well. However, some stages are only present on the PS1 and Saturn versions, while others are only available on N64. Since the former 2 consoles use discs as opposed to the N64's cartridges, there are several differences between the disc and cartridge-based versions that will influence which the player will prefer. The N64 version has an exclusive 3-on-3 mode, but due to memory limitations, doesn't have the full roster. The classic versions of characters are gone, Kintaro and Goro are no longer playable, and the 2 versions of Sub-Zero, masked and maskless, are fused into one character. Finally, Chameleon is replaced with Chameleon. That's Chameleon with a K instead of a C for my audio listeners, who is a female ninja that swaps between Katana, Melina, and Jade's movesets. Additionally, due to being on weaker hardware, the N64 version has lower quality sprites and music, as well as a less consistent frame rate. This makes the N64 version just sound inferior in every regard, but the biggest advantage it has over the disc versions is loading screens. There are basically no loading screens on N64, while the disc version loading screens are awful. Before and after each fight, and when even moving between menu screens, the PS1 version of MK Trilogy had long loading screens. I constantly thought my game had crashed on several occasions because of how long they took, and the occasional lack of an icon indicating that anything was even trying to load. So while the PlayStation version has a larger roster and a better presentation, the N64 version has no loading screens, which makes for much more seamless play. I personally much preferred the N64 version, as the content removed didn't bother me too much, and I can handle the drop in presentation if it made for an overall smoother experience. However, what each player prefers will vary from person to person, so make sure you evaluate which is more important to you before selecting a version to play. And that wraps up our mini reviews. With those 3 titles added to the list, our ranking for 2024 is finally complete. Let's find out where they've placed and see the current standing. This is the Tome of Silver 2024 ranking. Starting at the very bottom of our list, the worst video game in the ranking is number 58, Mortal Kombat Advance. Great work, Midway, you killed it. It's dead. Moving up to number 57, Bionicle The Game, the Game Boy Advance version. Number 56, Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles. Number 55, Danny Phantom, The Ultimate Enemy. Number 54, Mortal Kombat 3. Number 53, Bionicle Maze of Shadows. Number 52, Blackrock Shooter. Number 51, Bionicle The Game, GameCube version. Number 50, Tron Battle Grids. Number 49, Mega Man X3. Number 48, Silent Hill Homecoming. Number 47, Marvel's Avengers Battle for Earth. Number 46, Mortal Kombat. Number 45, Samurai Warriors 2 Empires. Number 44, Shantae. Number 43, Samurai Warriors. Number 42, Tron Evolution. Number 41, Deadpool. Number 40, J-Star's Victory Versus. Number 39, Transformers War for Cybertron, DS version. Number 38, Final Fantasy. Number 37, Octopath Traveler. Number 36, Digimon World Dusk. Number 35, Red Faction. Number 34, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Number 33, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Number 32, Transformers War for Cybertron, console version. Number 31, Soul Blade. Number 30, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Number 29, Mortal Kombat 2. Number 28, Shantae Risky's Revenge. Number 27, Pokemon Red. Number 26, Ultimate Spider-Man, console version. Number 25, Mega Man X2. Number 24, Pokemon Silver. Number 23, Sonic Mania Plus. Number 22, Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth. Number 21, Sakura Wars So Long My Love. Number 20, Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. Number 19, Ultimate Spider-Man Game Boy Advance version. Number 18, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Number 17, Fate Extra. Number 16, Way of the Samurai 3. Number 15, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Number 14, Aliens vs. Predator 2010. Number 13, Alien Isolation. Number 12, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Number 11, Code Vein. Number 10, Samurai Warriors 2 and Samurai Warriors 2 Extreme Legends. Number 9, Soul Calibur 2. Number 8, Deathmark. Number 7, Resident Evil 6. Number 6, Metroid Zero Mission. Number 5, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. Number 4, Mega Man X. Number 3, Sonic Adventure. Number 2, Dead Space. And finally, wearing the number 1 crown for the second year running, we have Tales of Vesperia. Congratulations, Yuri and crew. You held the line for another year. Let's see if we can make it to 3. And there we have it, the current standing of the Tome of Silver game ranking for 2024. It's only going to get bigger. Going forward, I plan on making a copy of the ranking spreadsheet and leaving a link in each future video. That way anyone wishing to view it and get a better look at the descriptions for each game can do that and keep up as we go along. Now let's talk about future videos, because I have 2 things that I want to mention. First, so long as I continue to meet my monthly video schedule, April's video will be my 50th. Oh, please. Thank you. Alright, that's enough. Okay, stop. Thank you. Since it's such a huge milestone, I've decided I'm going to cheat a little bit. For Review 50, I'm not going to be using the randomizer to select the game. Instead, I'm going to choose the game myself. I really want that video to feel special, so I want to review a game I'm especially passionate about, whether that's an excited passion or an enraged passion. I'm still not quite sure which game I'm going to choose. I'm mulling over a handful of options right now, but I promise it's going to be a fun one, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, I want to talk about an alteration I plan to make on how I end my videos. I've usually signed off with a little hint as to next month's topic, whether by making a lame pun based on the game's title or giving a vague statement as to what the game is about. I want to try something a little bit different going forward. Thanks to a wonderful YouTuber I follow, Mayor Hairbear, who makes excellent videos about getting all trophies in different games, I've learned of a website called Spin the Wheel. I want to try using that for the video selection instead of the backloggery. I plan on including the spinning of the wheel at the end of each video, including this one. I figured it would act as a fun visual while also informing you guys what to look forward to. Please let me know if you all prefer this method and would like to see it continue going forward, or if you prefer my little hints instead as a way of keeping things a bit mysterious before the next video drops. If you all like it, we'll keep it. If you don't, it's gone. Alright, that just about does it. Once again, thank you all so much for another wonderful year. I hope you all have a happy holiday and even happier new year. Before we see which game the wheel selects for next month, as always, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and may we see each other again when we turn to the next chapter in the Tome of Silver.